Chelsea closing in on £35 million signing Benoit Badiashile from Monaco. Chelsea head coach Graham Potter has placed emphasis on bolstering his side's defensive options in the January transfer window. Monaco central defender Benoit Badiashile has 2 caps for France and is the subject of £35 million move to Stamford Bridge. Head coach Philippe Clement has said of the prospect of losing the likes of Badiashile next month, "As a coach, we're always happy when the transfer window shuts. We'll see. It depends on the situations, if they're interesting for the club or not. The most important thing for me is that the players have their minds here, and that's the case." The 6'4" in France international, a left-sided centre-back, has always wanted to play for a Premier League club contending for the Champions League, with West Ham and Sevilla reportedly having previously been interested. Graham Potter is seeking flexibility in his backline, with Chelsea currently sweating over the fitness of Wesley Fofana after the defender suffered a setback in a behind-closed-doors friendly against Brentford. Potter said prior to the fixture against Bournemouth, Wesley Fofana just had a little setback which can sometimes happen at the very last stage of the rehab. It will be a couple of weeks so he won't be available for the game. Croatia's 20-year-old World Cup star Joško Gvardiol has also attracted plenty of interest from Chelsea, but the Sun claim his rising value and reputation has left the Blues considering more immediate options. It's no secret that Todd Bailey is targeting the best young players in world football as they embark on building a squad that can compete for many years. It's a policy that is consistent with giving Graham Potter a long-term contract, and it's an approach that will become normal practice at Stamford Bridge in the coming years. It's already been evident with the pre-contract summer agreement for France international Christopher Nkunku, but this January they are on the lookout for a midfielder and a striker. The injury to Armando Broja has left them light in forward positions, and they are the lowest scorers in the top half with only 17. In midfield, N'Golo Kanté has been regularly absent. Like Nkunku, Declan Rice is likely to be available for the right price in the summer, but Chelsea won't want to give up their bid to qualify for the Champions League without a fight. I expect them to attempt to make signings this January. To put it simply, a lot. Chelsea were the highest spenders in the Premier League in the summer, paying £278.4 million for 10 new players as the club's new owners made their presence felt. At £75 million, Wesley Fofana was the Blues' most expensive purchase, while £63 million was spent on Marc Cucurella and £47.5 million was paid to Manchester City for Raheem Sterling. There would have been a number of issues troubling Graham Potter as he saw his side's form collapse in the weeks leading up to the World Cup. However, there are 2 problems in particular that are hurting Chelsea: a lack of creativity and a lack of goals. The Blues have an expected goals total of just 15.61 from their 14 Premier League games. Only 6 other sides have recorded a lower figure, while they have scored only 17 times in those matches. For context, Manchester City have an XG total of 28.09 and have scored 40 goals over the same period. The fact that no player has managed more than 2 assists in the league speaks volumes, as does Kai Havertz and Raheem Sterling being the top scorers with just 3 goals each. Chelsea were hardly the great entertainers under Thomas Tuchel, but they will continue to go backwards under Potter unless they address their dysfunctional attack. But they are wary that they might be able to cash in to a greater effect now than if they were to leave it until the summer, given that his contract is not particularly lengthy. Badiashile is a very talented player. I wouldn't necessarily say he's as Premier League ready as some players that we've seen come from France to Premier League sides. He's necessarily at the level of a Saliba just yet. I liken him more to a bit more polished version of Kurt Zouma when he arrived in the Premier League. I do think he'll need time to develop to find his feet, but he certainly has that attribute to succeed in the Premier League. His build lends himself to being good in the air. He's not uncomfortable with the ball at his feet either. So he is somebody who I think would be tailor-made to the Premier League. Logically, he is definitely a player for the future. Thiago Silva, especially after the World Cup now, it's difficult to put a finger on exactly how long he is able to keep going at the highest level. he is obviously an evergreen player, but the assumption would be he'll probably be moving on sooner rather than later. Thank you for watching.